it's important to step back and say, okay, what is there for me to learn here? Am I trying to force this to happen? Or do I just need to surrender and trust in this moment? And, sometimes when you have to push too hard, you're pushing against a resistance that's in place to guide you. And that's when it's important to tap into your intuition and just ask, why do I really want this so bad right now? Is it ego or fear that's driving me? Or is it time to just surrender and let it go?
Hello and welcome to the Real Success Show. I'm your host, Candice Mama. If you are asking yourself how you can turn your life into something meaningful and a life of purpose, then today's speaker is just for you. His name is Zarak Fatah. He is a former serial entrepreneur turned transformational coach and facilitator. Trust me, this is an episode you do not want to miss. Before we jump into it, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that more people can find us. Now, here's Zark. Zark, welcome to the Real Success Show, and thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I've been so excited to do this interview for a number of reasons, which we're going to go into about your history, how you got to being who you are. But the biggest one is probably the transformation you've taken in your life. And it's beautiful, especially since people have had to transform in the past 2 years. And so firstly, for people who don't know you, how do you describe yourself?
So thank you. I'm a serial entrepreneur who had a moment of introspection, questioning my purpose in life, and chose to understand and learn about myself on a deeper level. And through that journey of going through my own personal transformation, I knew that I want to share this work with other people. So I specialize in helping people find their purpose, find their true calling, and help them step into that higher version of themselves, help them to really reach their full potential in many ways. Everybody, many people call themselves a transformational life coach. I like to really focus on true holistic transformation with the intention of helping people get complete and whole so they can step into their purpose and create their legacy.
Oh, I love that. And something happened on the 17th of August, which I want you to dive deeper into. It was your 40th birthday. And what happened?
So I have lived a very luxurious, dynamic, jet set, fun life, owning many clubs and restaurants and music festivals. And I've had a good time. However, at the age of 40, I would say, disappointed that there were certain things in my life that were missing. I always thought by 40, I'd be married with kids. I thought I would be out of the nightlife and entertainment industry and well on my way to financial abundance and security. And none of those had happened for me. And all of my friends and my peer group that I had grown up with were all living the life that I thought I should be living. And it was in that moment where I'm like, okay, I'm great at creating businesses and making, I'm just terrible at keeping it. I have no problem meeting beautiful women. I just have not been able to create that divine union that I've always dreamed of. And I knew that I had more to give. I knew that there was more that I had to offer the world than expensive vodka and sushi. And that's when I started to question, what am I here for? Why did I choose to be alive during this time? What is it that I'm here to do during this life? And that's what began my journey of really that deep dive into myself to understand who am I really, what are my God-given talents and gifts that I'm here to contribute to the world. And that's what really kicked off this personal development roller coaster that's been happening the past 7 years now. So it was really, I don't want to say it was my rock bottom, but it was like a trifecta of three situations of being in a financial situation that wasn't what I desired. I was feeling stagnant in my career, and I was feeling lonely and wanting to find that love and create that relationship I'd always dreamed of.
I love that. And, something stands out to me, which is when those moments happen, right? It's an epiphany moment. You understand that you're not happy. But a lot of
Mhm.
people can know they're not happy and be unable or not willing to take the step to change it. So, what was it about that in your life where you were like, I have
Mhm.
to change this?
Yeah. So thank you for asking that, because it's, as you mentioned, many people, life is good. Nothing's really wrong or bad, but something's missing, and within you that, you know, I know there's something else I want. I know there's that next level of life that I could be living, experiencing. And I'm the type of person, if I do anything, I give 110%. And I want to leave this life knowing that I really did everything that I wanted to. And I really pushed my boundaries and I lived my life to the fullest. And I just knew in that moment that I'm not really living my life to the fullest. I'm very proud of my accomplishments and what I've achieved during my 25-year career in entertainment and hospitality, but I knew that I was destined for something more. And I think we all know that we have greatness within us, and we all know that we have this talent, this gift, this skill to contribute to the world. However, we have to go within and look past our identity and look past who the world makes us feel who we're supposed to be or what we should be doing, and to really trust that there is something that we are meant to be doing if we are able to take a step back and really ask ourselves those questions. What am I here for, and what do I want my life to mean? So for people who are kind of where they're not in a bad situation, things are okay, and they could keep going like that for the next 15, 20, 30 years. But at the end of their life, they may realize, like, wow, I didn't actually live my life to the fullest. I didn't really do what my heart truly desired. I was playing a role. I was living up to an identity. And I knew that I'm not going out like that. I'm not going to live my life being stuck in a role because that's what I thought I was good at. And that's what pushed me to say, I'm willing to take a step back from this career. I'm willing to move to a new country. I'm willing to start something new, go back to school, and really discover those gifts, those talents that I knew I had within me. So it was just really the desire to live my life to the fullest, to live a life that's truly alive and vibrant and exciting is what motivated me to make these drastic changes.
It made me think of the quote, our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure, right? And
Yeah.
that's what stuck out to
Beautiful.
me as
Mm,
you were speaking. And
absolutely.
what did that look like for you? I mean, did you know that you were going to become a transformational coach? Did you know that that was the journey? Or was it now a journey of discovery?
So in the beginning, it was deep work to understand myself. Like, why did I want to become a nightclub and restaurant owner? What were the beliefs, what were the experiences that created these beliefs, that created these patterns, that created my personality, that had me wake up at 40 and realize, wait a minute, what happened here? So it was about 2 to 3 years of really getting to learn and know who I am for the first time, I would say, in my life, because many of us are so caught up in the grind, so caught up in the success, so caught up in the role that we don't actually get the chance to know ourselves on a true level, because we think, and I'm going to speak from the context of what it means to be a man and society, go to school, get that good job, make that money, buy that car, date beautiful women, have the house, the boat, the whatever, and there's this program, there's this idea of who we think we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to have in order to be a successful man, and like be that guy. And I had all those things. I got to enjoy all of it. And I realized, like, yeah, it's fun for a little bit, but that's not where true happiness is. That's not what brings you true fulfillment. So the first 2 to 3 years was really just learning about myself and figuring out, how did I get to be this way? Because you don't know how to undo what you've done if you don't know how you got there in the first place. And I realized the bullying that I dealt with, the racism, my parents' marriage, all of these experiences created these beliefs that shaped who I was now as an adult. So, the little kid who used to get picked on in the schoolyard who just wanted to fit in was the little brat who was running up my credit card, popping bottles and buying things I didn't need. You know, Will Smith has a quote, you know, spending money I don't have to buy things I don't need to impress people I don't like, you know, or don't even care about. And that's what I was doing, you know, and I just didn't want to be that guy anymore. Now, I am a natural promoter by nature. If I eat a great restaurant, I'm going to tell 10 people that week how great that restaurant was that I ate at. If I read an amazing book, I'm sharing it on Facebook and Instagram. I'm just, you know, as Malcolm Gladwell will call, I'm a maven, you know, from the tipping point. You know, they are those people who, when they experience something they love, they just got to share it with everybody. So for me, when I experienced a personal transformation through this deep work, I needed everybody to know about it. I had to tell everybody. I wanted other people to know, like, hey, if you don't like your life, you don't like your job, you don't like your friends, you don't like your wife, you know, no matter what it is you're not happy with in your life, you can change that. You have the power, the control to change whatever you want if you want it bad enough. So for me, as I was going through my drastic 180-degree change, going from nightlife to now discovering personal development, spirituality, and, you know, all these other wonderful tools and modalities, I felt compelled to share with other people because I knew that 3-4 years prior, I was oblivious. I was caught up in the grind, caught up in the mix, and I didn't know there was a way out. You know, if it wasn't for one of my best friends who bought me my first personal development course, the Landmark Forum, I don't know what it would have been that would have kind of snapped me out of it. So I needed to share this with people because I was so passionate about it and it was making such a big difference for me. And I knew that because I had influence, because people looked at my life and admired my lifestyle and who I was, I knew that my story would catch their attention. And my story was such a shock to people because everybody, you know, they look at your Instagram, they see the life you're living, the car you're driving, the women you're dating, and they think, oh man, that guy's got the life, he's balling, look at him. But I knew the truth. So when I started to speak the truth, people were like, what? You? Come on now, no way. But then people were saying, yeah, you know what? Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm feeling that also. Yeah, I'm not happy. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. I'm not in a good place. And I realized, wow, okay, so I'm not alone and people resonate with my story. And how can I share this with people? How can I, you know, how can I be a promoter of, you know, positive change and personal development? So that's how I, you know, made the switch from being the student to the teacher, because I knew that there are many people out there who are either intimidated by personal development, or they didn't maybe have the time or resources to go away on a 1-week retreat or hire a coach, or maybe they're just not going to go sit in a conference room for 3 days, you know, listening to, you know, teachers and coaches. So I thought, how would I share this information in a way that would be fun and engaging and not intimidating and approachable? And being the serial entrepreneur that I am, having created 12 companies in the past, I thought, how would I do this my way? How would I speak to my demographic of people who they want change and they have the resources, but they just don't even know where to start? How would I share this with them? What would I create? And that's what led me to create my company now, the Alive Experience and the Alive Life. So going from being, you know, the student to the teacher to now being the provider of these tools and resources for people is how I kind of went from where I was at 40 to where I am now at 47.
Oh man, what a journey. You said something interesting as you were like sharing your experience
Mm-hmm.
and how you got to this point. And you said the person who was running up your credit card bill was that child that was wounded, right? Going through pain, dealing with situations. And I think it brings me to this point, which is a lot of the time people will invest in a course, they'll invest in a teacher, but then it gets hard. It gets really
Mm-hmm.
hard digging deep and looking at yourself and having to bring up all these core woundings. What were some of your core motivators that kept you going when it got really tough to see these wounds within yourself?
Yeah. So every time I would have a breakthrough, there was a lightness, there was joy, there was gratitude. Every time I would work through and stick with that pain, there was so much light, so much fulfillment. You know, it was like, I knew I was evolving. I knew I was getting to understand myself and my family and my history on a deeper level. And it allowed me to let go. Allowed me to let go of these things I'd been dragging along that I didn't even know that were holding me back. And the shift in my energy was obvious with people around me. Like, people just like, different, or you look younger, what are you doing, you know? And it was just from letting go, and also pushing myself, knowing that, yeah, I'm strong enough, I'm resilient, courageous enough to work through this. And one of the biggest motivators was also knowing that I can be the example for other people, and that people were following my journey and people were seeing the changes I was making, and in that, it was inspiring them to do the same. So for me, it was obviously first and foremost for my own growth, but it's who I get to be for other people that has me continue to push and dive deeper, because a lot of people, and I'll also say a lot of men, aren't vocal about their challenges and not vocal about their wounds and the difficult times they go through. Because again, you know, we live in a society that just wants to promote the 1% highlights. And I knew that my story was inspiring people and it was actually making a difference. So I do the work that I do because I know that as I evolve, as I get lighter, as I let go of more, and as I learn, I bring that much more to my community, to my retreats, to my coaching clients. And yeah, I do the work for all of us. And, you know, it's cliche, but they say it, you know, when you heal yourself, you heal the world. And it's true, you know, it's so true, because so many people in my life have been impacted by the work that I'm doing, that they're now on their own journey. And it's so beautiful to see, you know. Yeah, man, I've done some amazing things in my life, and there has not been anything nearly this good. You know, I love what I do so much. I love the change that I see in people. And yeah, and that's what makes it all worth it, you know, knowing that this is how we heal ourselves, this is how we heal the planet, you know, by starting with doing our own work and healing ourselves. Yeah.
Oh, that's one of my
Yeah.
favorite
Mm,
quotes ever,
mm,
by the way.
mm. Okay.
But you know, you've been on this journey for 6, 7 years now, and
Yeah.
it does the journey ever stop?
It never stops, because as you peel back the layers, you're like, oh, there's more there. Okay, well, let's get into that. Oh, there's some stuff from my grandparents in there that isn't even mine, but oh, well, I guess I got to deal with that now, you know? So it's like, we have so much, not just in this lifetime, but also in our DNA, from our parents, from our grandparents, from our soul's journey, from other lifetimes ago. You know, we have, this is, I mean, I believe this is our soul's journey. It's not just to work on our issues and what we experienced during this lifetime, but to also to heal and to overcome what we may have brought into this life from our previous lives, you know. And I like to say life's kind of like a video game. I like to reference Super Mario Brothers, you know, where Super Mario, he's running around and he's collecting the magic mushrooms and he's stomping on dragons, and, you know, he's fighting the bad guys. And at the end of it, he collects enough coins and he gets to save the princess, and he evolves to that next level. So in life, every day, we have our dragons to fight and we have our coins to collect, and we can make choices that either allow us to advance to the next level, stay the same, or maybe, you know, level down. And it's up to us every day to ask, okay, am I leveling up today? You know, what choices am I going to make that are aligned with who I want to be? And the journey of our soul is to learn, to grow, to push ourselves, to evolve. And when this life is done, it's our hope, it's our intention that we leave this life further advanced, transcended to that next level of consciousness, so that when you get to do it again and you play the next round, you're starting at that next level, you know. And it's it's a different way of looking at life. It's a different context. But when you have that intention and you question your choices and you really are focused on who do you want to be, how do you want to be remembered, what do you want your life to mean, it definitely helps you to make choices and take action, invest your time and energy into the things that are going to help you to up level rather than just going through the motions of life, really being open to stepping into that higher version of yourself each and every day.
Mm. You are speaking my language. I'm like,
Mhm. Okay.
I love the Super Mario analogy. I'm such a
Yeah,
gamer.
thank
So
you.
I'm like, yes, I love it.
Mhm, mhm,
Something I'm very interested in is just, a lot of the time we want things out of life. We chasing, we healing, we doing the work. And sometimes we just don't get what we want, or at least in that period or the
mhm,
phase we in. So I want to know, how do you deal with not getting what you want?
mhm. So, in one of the questions that you had sent is what was one of the big life lessons that I've learned, and this is exactly, to that point is being an alpha driven male. I want to control everything. I want everything to go my way. I'm the boss because I need to, make sure I can control the circumstances. And the reality is we can't control anything. We're never in control. And it's taken me a while to really trust and surrender and just believe that we may not get what we want, but we always get what we need. And that sometimes when we don't get what we want, it's actually what serves us best because the universe, God, source is always looking out for our best interests and is always guiding us. So even when things don't work out, it's important to step back and say, okay, what is there for me to learn here? Am I trying to force this to happen? Or do I just need to surrender and trust in this moment? And, sometimes when you have to push too hard, you're pushing against a resistance that's in place to guide you. And that's when it's important to tap into your intuition and just ask, why do I really want this so bad right now? Is it ego or fear that's driving me? Or is it time to just surrender and let it go? And I took a big leap of faith when I left Toronto. I moved to Costa Rica, walked away or exited from many of my businesses back home to start all over. And I didn't know what it was going to look like. I was starting a new career that I was completely new at. And it took a lot of trust and faith that I'm stepping into something that I believe is my true calling. And no matter how it goes, it's going to be a beautiful journey. And there are times things didn't work out, like the pandemic came along and I didn't have any retreats for 2 years. And there's nothing I can do to change that circumstance. Was I disappointed? Absolutely. But then I said, okay, well, if I'm not going to be hosting retreats for the next, I don't know, 6 months or a year, how can I use this time? What opportunity can I create with this, global pause that will allow me to thrive during this time? And when we have an expectation, when we're attached to an outcome, when we think it's got to go this way, we're setting ourselves up for disappointment. We're setting ourselves up for suffering because there is no guarantee that things are ever going to go the way they're supposed to. You can have an intention, you can have a vision, but to hold tight to a very specific goal or desired outcome is, I feel, not the healthiest way to take things on. So when things don't work out the way I hope they would, I just trust that it's happening for a reason. There's something else for me to learn here. And it also is a great learning opportunity for myself to say, okay, how am I responsible for this not working out? What could I have done different? If there was anything for me to do different, what different choices could I have made that would have possibly created a different outcome? So I also treat it as a learning opportunity to see where is there room for me to grow through this situation that's happening right now, and not let myself get down on it, knowing that tomorrow is a new day and I'm a powerful manifester, so I can create anything I want.
Oh, That's incredible. You mentioned a word which I think is so important, but I also think it's a very misunderstood word.
Mm,
What is the difference between surrender and complacency?
mhm. So surrender is having trust while still being committed. It is knowing that your heart is still in it. It is still something you desire, but you're not going to try to hold on to it too tight because things can't grow when you hold on to something so tight. So it's about taking your hands off, still holding it within your heart, knowing that it's what you desire. It's something that you still want for your life. And it's trusting that it will come to you if it's meant to be. Complacency is when you really are lazy. It's something that, you're interested in, but you're not really committed to seeing it through in the long term, whatever that may look like. It's about not being consistent. It's about taking the easier route, taking the easier option, because sometimes surrender can be very difficult and a lot of work. But it's that trust that it's going to come to you if it's meant for you. Whereas complacency is almost, I would say, being irresponsible, being negligent, not being intentional, not really being committed to what you want. It's just about really laziness, I would say, for sure. Yeah.
I love that. That's a
Mhm.
great differentiator, I think. And you speak about being a powerful manifester, and I love that terminology. And you also said a quote now, which I really love, which is, "What's meant for me, will never miss me, or it will always find
Mhm.
me."
Mhm.
So between those two, right, when you're really trying to manifest something, and then you also feel like, you know what, if it's meant for me, it will come to me. Like, how do you
Mhm.
strike that balance between doing and exerting and wanting? Because I think it also speaks into the surrender element of it, and also
Mhm.
not insisting that exactly what you're trying to manifest is what's for you.
Mhm. Sure. So all of the things I've manifested in my life have always started with me being able to tap into the experience, the moment of having what it is that I want, being able to see it, smell it, hear it, feel it, and just see it in my mind's eye and connect with the emotion, the excitement, the joy of having that thing, that moment, that experience. Being intentional by taking inspired action that is aligned with moving in that direction, but at the same time, not being too rigid. I've been very structured and very rigid and very um, committed to many things in the past. And as I said before, when you're set on a certain expectation, you're going to face disappointment. But when you have an intention and you have a vision and there's something you feel in your heart, it's what you want, and you can see it when you close your eyes, you can feel it, and it inspires you to take action that take you in the direction. That is all part of the manifestation process, where calling it in without trying to force it, trusting again that you don't know exactly how you're going to get what it is that you want, but it is coming to you. Because again, if you are so set on it's got to happen this way, then you're leaving no room for the universe to bring it to you in whatever way the universe chooses to. Whether it's a partner, whether it's a new job, or a new opportunity. It's important to set the intention, take inspired action, but then not try to almost overthink it or force it. And that's where I think, again, trust and surrender is required, because you can't just have this vision or idea of what you want and just, okay, yeah, universe is going to give it to me, it's going to come. I would say that would be more on the complacency side of things, without taking consistent action. So it's really about finding that balance of taking inspired action that's going to move you in the direction, but not being set on it happening in one way, and trusting that the universe is going to bring it to you at the right time in the best way possible when you're ready. Because that's the other thing. Often there are things that we desire, whether it be a new relationship, new job opportunity, and we might want it so bad, but the truth is we're actually not ready for it. So sometimes it might take a couple of years, but we can't force it, because if we try to force it, we may receive what we want before we're ready, but then we're not able to actually hold it. We're not able to utilize whatever it is, benefit from it in its fullest capacity, because we weren't ready for it yet. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And it brings another quote to mind, which is
Mm-hmm.
a blessing given prematurely becomes a curse. So
Ooh, I
that,
like that one. Yeah, I've never heard that one. That's
yeah,
good.
I
Yes,
like
sorry, I
when I
interrupted
heard
you
it,
there.
I
Yeah,
was like, that's so good.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah. And so, there are certain things that, you require in order to create a life of your dreams, discipline being one of them. Are there any practices that you have to do every day that keep you in alignment with living your best
Hmm.
life?
Time alone, whether it be to meditate, to spend time in nature, to be off your phone, and just to listen to the inner guidance, to that voice that's always there, always speaking to us, but we don't always make time or turn the volume down of all the other noise going on to listen to that voice. And I speak from my own personal example of just living a life that was so busy, right away on my phone, emails, text message, Instagram, right into it within, the first 10 minutes of waking up, not giving myself the time and space to listen to the intuition, the ideas, the creativity that's there for us, especially in the morning. So with all my clients and even on my retreats, I would say the first half hour to an hour, stay off your phone, skip the coffee, take some time to journal, go for a walk in nature, listen to some high vibe music, meditate. There's so many different things you could do within that first 30 to 60 minutes of the day that will allow you to just connect with your higher self, connect with your intuition, just even just be in your body. How am I feeling today? Like what's going on in here? Before you turn on the phone, before you jump into the work, dive deep into yourself. So that's what I highly recommend to people. Just give yourself, even if it's just 30 minutes, start with that, and check in with yourself before you get going on everything. And so, whether it be breath work, meditation, journaling, nature walk, these are all different things that I do to start my day, and I mix it up to keep it fresh, but that's a good place to start for sure.
I was definitely with you until you said skip the coffee. And I was like,
I'm not saying you got to give up the coffee. I'm just saying wait an hour, at least, give yourself a little bit of time, because again, coffee is a major stimulant. It's why we like it, right? And also, as soon as we start making our coffee, we're getting into the doingness. If we got to go out for coffee, we're taking ourselves out of that theta brainwave state of being in that semi-lucid, creative, intuitive state into, jumping into alpha state. Let's get things done. Let's get the coffee machine going. Let's drive to the Starbucks or whatever it may be. So, using that bit of time in the morning where you're haven't been fully activated yet, I think is super important to tap into those higher states of consciousness, and then you could dive in on the coffee. Yeah.
Okay, well, if you get a report that someone's been killed, just know it's because of you.
Wow.
Big responsibility.
Got it. Okay.
No, but you work with so many incredible clients and you meet so many phenomenal people that come into your path and you coach and you've done transformational work with. Is there any one story that really sticks out in your mind when you think about, wow, I really love what I do?
Wow. Okay, that's gonna be hard to choose. Yes, yes. So I receive a message on Instagram from a gentleman who I knew from the club days, and um, used to come by, pop bottles. Just I figured one of those young money, Bay Street, Wall Street type guys. And he messaged me on Instagram. I hadn't talked to him in probably 7 or 8 years. And he said, "Hey, man, I've been seeing your posts, seeing what you're doing. Super cool. I'd love to learn more about your next retreat. You got time for a call?" Absolutely. So we get on a call. He says, "I'm 38, divorced, 2 kids, more money than I know what to do with. And I'm tired of making rich people richer. I don't necessarily know what I want to do next with my life, but I know that I'm bored and there's something else that's out there for me." I said, "Perfect. You're my guy. This is exactly who I want to help." He ended up coming to my retreat, and being the CEO of a hedge fund, you're used to being treated a certain way, spoke to a certain way. And now he's with 12 people, completely anonymous. And during that time, he got the chance to really get clear on who is he without all the flashy titles and the cars and all of the status that comes with that. Who is he at his true core and essence? And through nature, through the breath work, through the different modalities and the lessons, especially one very powerful one we do where you write your obituary. We lead you through a guided visualization where you're actually a guest at your own funeral, just kind of hovering around, listening to who steps up to the podium to honor you. What do they have to say about your life? How have you impacted them? What difference have you made to those people in the room? As I say that, the hair on my arm stands up. And it really got him thinking about the legacy he's creating and who he wants to be. And it was on our final day of the retreat that we had a conversation. And he said, "I'm starting to get a little bit more clarity about what I want to create in this world and how I want to help make a difference." And we had a conversation about how cool would it be for him to use his wealth, his knowledge, investment banking, his resources to raise money to help fund startups that are helping make a difference on the planet, that are helping to right some of the wrongs that are happening. I said, how amazing would it be for your children to say, "Wow, my daddy's helping change the world. My daddy's, helping fix the planet so me and my brother can grow up in a world that works for everyone." And this person, who has now become a very dear friend of mine, we did some coaching afterwards. And as a result of this, he created a company called 5D Capital. And 5D Capital is now funding companies that are developing psilocybin recovery centers to help people dealing with addiction. They are funding companies that are really making a big difference in mental health, in environmental conservation, in many different areas that have significant impact on the planet. And it was in that moment after the retreat that he was able to see that there is something out there for him that will allow him to create a legacy that lives on beyond that, something that he can give to his children that will allow them to live in a better world. And why I love what I do and I'm so proud of the work that I do is that my clients show up as a different leader in their company. They show up as a different father, as a different husband, or as a different ex-husband. And I know that my clients' children will grow up to be different humans as a result of the work that their daddy does with me. That I'm able to help them step into that higher, more evolved version of themselves that they have within them, but the trauma, the wounds, the stories, the beliefs are holding them back from being that man, that leader. And I have dozens of stories of men who have had massive shifts in their life as a result of the work that we do together. But this one really resonates for me because I know that the companies that my friend is now creating are going to impact thousands and probably millions of lives. So it's all about that ripple effect. It's a beautiful representation of what happens when, as we said earlier, when you do your work, you help change the world. And literally through this work, he is helping change the world because of the work that I did that I get to pass on. So yeah, that's probably one of my favorite success stories because 3 years later, I'm now seeing the impact of the work that him and I have done together actually come together. Yeah, so it's beautiful.
Thank you for sharing that with us. That is so beautiful. And the obituary thing, like, that got me.
Yeah.
That really got me.
Yeah, that's a deep one. And something that most people are even scared to think about. People don't want to think about their own death, but if you really sit down and ask yourself, how do I want to be remembered? When I'm taking my last breath, or, when I'm no longer here and people are celebrating me, what will they be saying? How do I want to impact them? And yeah, it can be scary to think about, but again, it's about facing that fear and stepping into it, knowing that there's a powerful lesson to be learned through going through that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that you work with men, because I think in today's society, and I mean, historically speaking, but especially today, there is so much pressure, right? There's a lot of support for women. So I'm not discounting women in
There
this,
is.
but I find that it is very difficult for men to seek help and to acknowledge that they need help. They need any sort of assistance. And so when did you decide that you were going to coach men?
Yeah. So it was about 10 months ago that I made the shift, because before I coached men, women, I even coached their teenage children or like young adults in their early 20s. And the reason I made the shift to coach with men is, unfortunately, the demographic of men between, I think it's 40 to 50, is one of the highest suicide segments. And being a man who at 40 knew that I wasn't happy, knew I was dealing with anxiety and some challenges, I really didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't even know what to turn to until my friend gifted me a course. And I think a lot of men, especially alpha driven entrepreneur type of men, when you're the boss, you can't show weakness. You can't say, I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I'm suicidal. You don't want to let others know that you're not okay, because you have to, many of us men feel that we have to project this image of, I'm strong, I'm independent, I got my stuff together, I'm all good. But a lot of men aren't. So knowing that we understand each other, because I am them and they are I, and that I've been through what they're going through and I'm on the other side of it, I can speak to them in a way that it connects with them, it lands for them. And I'm the example of what life looks like when you do the work. So knowing that there are not a lot of male coaches out there, or I'll say there's, as you said, more support for women than there are for men, that I wanted to use my coaching, my gift to support men, because it's an underserved market. And that working with leaders specifically, when the leader does the work, everybody in the company benefits. When the father does the work, everybody in the family benefits. So I want to start at the top and allow the work to trickle down and impact everyone that they can influence. So that's why I made the switch, and it's been great because the guys I work with, we're like bros, we're homies, we keep it real. I call them out. I can speak to them in a way that I give them slap down if they need it, and somebody's got to keep the boss in check, because when you're the boss, who is there to keep you, on track to make sure you're getting your work done? So that's who I get to be for them. And it's a lot of fun. And we develop a beautiful friendship and connection. And yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
And if it were your final day on earth and that you had to leave the world with one message from you, this is the only thing the world's going to remember about you, what would that be?
That each and every one of us, we are pure love at our true core. That is how we enter this world. That's where we go back to. And to never forget that we have all the love we need. We are enough. We are capable of having everything that we want because it's all available to us. It's just our story and our beliefs that stop us from having what we want. But when you realize that all we are is love and that anything is possible, and we can just accept ourselves as being whole, complete, and perfect, then those stories, those beliefs, those past experiences, they don't matter anymore, because they're not who we are. They're just things that happened. And when we can get past that, then we see that anything is possible for us. So, I guess to sum it up, that, we are enough, we are love, and we're capable of having anything that we want when we believe that we deserve it. Yeah.
All the chills. So how do you define love?
Love it's a state of being. Love is it is, I'm having flashbacks to a very powerful experience when I got to be with that beautiful, pure love, light energy. It's pure joy. It's bliss. It's freedom. It's just being without the limitations, without the judgment. It is just, oh man, it's a hard one to put into words. It's just really being free and just being yourself and just being accepting of you, of others, and all that life has to offer you. Yeah. I wish I could communicate what's in my mind, but I don't know that the words can even do that. So yeah, that's the best I got.
I think if people are viewing this interview and not listening on the podcast, I think they would be able to tell that, it's something that is clearly very intertwined with who you are. And so it was very easy to tell that, especially from the visuals, because we see each other. So I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there a particular motto you live your life according to?
Many amazing quotes that I share often. I think that, just trusting in divine timing, just knowing that everything happens when it's supposed to and how it's supposed to. And that's something I've recently taken over the last few years after really relinquishing control and just trusting and surrendering, knowing that when you have a pure intention and when you're committed and you're working hard or consistently to whatever it is you want, it's already on its way to you. It's all there, and you just have to be patient and just trust that it's coming. And it's all going to happen when it's supposed to. Really is one of the big lessons that I've learned over the last few years, and it's something that I remind myself every day. When things go sideways, take a deep breath, It's all good. It's all gonna happen. Yeah, and in Costa Rica, everyone says pura vida. Everything's pura vida, So it's like pura vida meaning, hey, chill out, relax, it's all good. It's pura vida. So that's something, living in a country like Costa Rica after being in Toronto for many years is something you learn to take on, to just be in flow, trust, surrender, and not get too worked up about things. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love that. I love it. And so, what is real success to you?
Mm. Real success for me, especially after having a lot of success in my former career to the success I have now, is first and foremost freedom. Success is freedom to live your life on your own terms and to live a life that you're proud of, a life that's rich with joy and laughter and good food and fulfillment. And, I've had fancy cars and all the expensive, lavish stuff, and that's not success. Those are just possessions. Those are just things that maybe the ego thrives on. But true success is found within that feeling of just deep fulfillment, of knowing that I matter, I make a difference, that my time on this planet has been well spent. Yeah. Yeah. That's my new definition of success based on where I'm at in my journey now and having changed careers and on this new path. Even though I might have made more money before, I feel much more successful now. Mhm. Yeah.
Love it. I've been saying love it a lot, but it's true.
Thank you.
But my final question to you today is,
Mm.
what is something about you that we will
Mm.
not find on Google?
Oh wow. Okay. Hmm. Well, I let's see. I started my career in nightlife as a go-go dancer.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. That's how I started my 25-year career in nightlife. I was at a club and I was offered a job to be one of the performers and never looked back since. Yep.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. And now we're gonna all troll Google, just like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think that's up there, but you never know. Yeah.
Zark, this has been incredible. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. My face is like sore from laughing and smiling, so that's a good sign. Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Thank
Perfect.
you. It is always such a privilege for me to walk alongside you in these conversations. That's why I love hearing your feedback as to what stood out for you. So make sure you are commenting, comment on Instagram, comment on our YouTube channel, wherever it is that you can find us, because then I can curate conversations that make a meaningful impact in your life. As always, it has been my greatest honor and privilege to serve you, and I look forward to doing it again next week.